Summary of the Laird's Kiss written by Eliza Knight. Chapter 1. Lady Rhiannon Dacre cautiously approached the Scottish warrior who stood before her, holding her precious cat Gussie in his arms. The sight of the familiar feline, adorned with a red ribbon and a bell, filled Rhiannon's heart with both relief and confusion. "Who are you, and why do you have my cat?" Rhiannon demanded, her eyes narrowing as she studied the stranger. The Scottish warrior gave her a charming smile, his blue eyes twinkling with a mixture of amusement and mystery. "Forgive me, my lady, I did not mean to startle you. I am Alistair MacLeod, and I happened upon your cat in the woods. She seemed lost and frightened, so I thought it best to return her to her owner." Rhiannon's guard, who had been eyeing the Scottish intruder suspiciously, tightened his grip on the hilt of his sword. "A Scot, here on Dacre lands? What business have you, MacLeod?" Alistair MacLeod's smile didn't waver as he explained, "I'm on a journey, and I thought I'd take a shortcut through these lands." "I mean no harm, good sir." Rhiannon exchanged a quick glance with her guard, silently communicating her uncertainty about the situation. While Alistair's explanation seemed plausible, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. "Thank you for bringing Gussie back," she said, reaching out to take her cat from Alistair's arms. Gussie, however, seemed quite content in the arms of the Scottish stranger, purring and nuzzling against him. "She's a spirited one, isn't she?" Alistair chuckled, gently handing Gussie over to Rhiannon. "I hope I haven't caused any trouble. I'll be on my way now." Rhiannon nodded, still unsure of the stranger's true intentions. As Alistair MacLeod disappeared into the woods, she turned her attention back to her guard. "What do you make of him?" she asked, her eyes narrowing in thought. "He may be a simple traveler, as he claims," the guard replied, keeping a watchful eye on the retreating figure. "But we should remain vigilant. Strangers have a way of bringing trouble." Rhiannon agreed with a nod, her mind now racing with new possibilities. Alistair's unexpected appearance had disrupted her plans, but it also presented an opportunity. Perhaps he could be an ally in her quest for freedom. Days passed, and Rhiannon carefully observed the routines of the castle. Adam remained vigilant, keeping her confined to her chamber and allowing only brief outings with guards. Yet, with Alistair's presence lingering in her thoughts, a daring plan began to take shape. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the courtyard, Rhiannon seized the moment. With Gussie by her side, she made her way to the castle walls, where she had noticed a spot with loose stones during her walks. If there was any chance of escape, it lay in exploiting the vulnerabilities of the castle itself. Alistair, having discreetly kept an eye on the castle from a distance, approached Rhiannon with a curious glint in his eyes. "What are you plotting, Lady Rhiannon?" he inquired, his voice a hushed whisper. "I am plotting my escape," she replied, her determination shining through. "And I could use your help, Alistair MacLeod." The Scottish warrior raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the audacity of her request. As Rhiannon outlined her plan, which involved exploiting the weaknesses in the castle's defenses and relying on Alistair's knowledge of the land, he nodded in agreement. The night of the daring escape arrived, cloaked in darkness and the silence of anticipation. Rhiannon, with Gussie nestled in her arms, met Alistair near the designated spot by the castle walls. The guard on duty was lulled into complacency, unaware of the impending adventure. With Alistair's guidance, Rhiannon navigated the hidden paths, avoiding the main roads and eluding the patrols. The Scottish warrior's knowledge of the land proved invaluable as they moved swiftly through the shadows. As they reached the outskirts of Dacre lands, the tension began to ease, replaced by a sense of liberation. Rhiannon, Gussie, and Alistair stood on the border between captivity and newfound freedom. "Where will you go now, Lady Rhiannon?" Alistair asked, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "To my cousin Douglas Sinclair, Lady Caithness, in the Highlands of Scotland," she replied, her voice filled with determination. "I'll find refuge with kin who value my freedom." Alistair nodded in understanding, a silent understanding passing between them. As dawn approached, Rhiannon and Alistair parted ways. With a final glance over her shoulder, she left the confines of Dacre Castle behind, embarking on a journey toward a destiny shaped by her own choices. As the first rays of sunlight bathed the landscape in a golden hue, Rhiannon felt a newfound sense of empowerment. The Scottish warrior, a mysterious ally in her quest for freedom, had become an unexpected but pivotal chapter in her story. Together, they had defied the constraints of fate, and Rhiannon embraced the uncertain path that lay ahead. Chapter 2. Ian Sinclair felt the familiar rush of excitement as he faced the English guard, danger closing in around him. He thrived in moments like these, the thrill of a fight on the edge of every breath. The physical exertion and peril made him smile. While he was confident he could best the English guard standing before him, a pang of uncertainty lingered. What if he was wrong? What if the guard got the jump on him, or if Lady Rhiannon surprised him with a hidden dagger? The uncertainty only added to the thrill. Ian lived for such adventures, and this was one of the reasons he had agreed to help his brother fetch Lady Rhiannon. She, standing defiantly before him, fit the description provided by his sister-in-law, Douglas. The red gold hair, the tall, lithe figure, she was unmistakably the woman he sought. He had made a wild guess about the cat, and the look in Rhiannon's eyes confirmed it. The feline belonged to her. As they bantered about luck and the fortunate encounter, Ian couldn't help but enjoy the game. He let the cat, Gussie, down as a gesture of goodwill, and the feline strolled over to Rhiannon with a purr. Amid the banter and exchange of words, the guard's nervousness was palpable. Ian played into it, relishing the psychological game. The guard's attempts to appear unyielding only made him seem more incompetent. Rhiannon's attempts to reclaim her cat added a touch of comedy to the tense situation. Rhiannon's blue eyes sparkled with defiance, and Ian couldn't help but appreciate the curves he hadn't expected. Douglas hadn't mentioned them. The banter continued, revealing the dynamics between the characters. Ian's mischievous grin and Rhiannon's haughty glances set the stage for a lively interaction. As the guard tried to assert his authority, Gussie, the cat, expressed her displeasure by swiping at his boots. The guard's incompetence became more evident with every passing moment. Ian seized the opportunity to playfully suggest his intention to return with the sought-after package. Rhiannon's eyes widened, and she started to edge away from the guard. The banter took an unexpected turn when the guard, in a display of bravado, drew his sword. Ian, confident in his abilities, didn't even bother to unsheath his own weapon. The banter continued, with Ian mocking the guard's lack of awareness. A well-placed hit to the back of the guard's neck sent him crumpling to the ground, unconscious. With a nudge from Ian's boot, the guard remained motionless. Rhiannon's horrified look was met with Ian's assurance that the guard was only asleep. The banter resumed, with Ian suggesting they leave quickly before the castle realized something was amiss. Rhiannon's skepticism about Ian's authenticity surfaced. She questioned how she could trust him, and Ian, perplexed, asserted that he had no reason to lie. The banter turned into a discussion about letters, with Rhiannon revealing she had sent 3 but only one had reached Douglas. Ian's amusement turned into concern, realizing the gravity of Rhiannon's situation. Her mention of being held against her will and married off to settle a debt added a layer of urgency to their mission. Ian vowed to keep her safe, realizing the responsibility that came with his task. As they contemplated the use of a dagger for protection, Ian reassured Rhiannon that he would keep her safe from everyone. The banter continued, revealing the clash of personalities, Ian's adventurous spirit against Rhiannon's independence. With the guard still unconscious, Ian and Rhiannon set off towards Ian's horse. The banter, now a mix of playful teasing and genuine concern, painted a picture of the unlikely duo embarking on a journey fraught with danger and unpredictability. As they walked, Rhiannon's skepticism persisted. She questioned how Ian had known she would be walking that day, prompting Ian to reveal his scouting and observation skills. The banter turned into a discussion about breaching castle walls and the unpredictability of the guard's schedules. Rhiannon's reluctance to accept assistance and insistence on bringing Gussie along added a humorous touch to their exchange. Ian, realizing the need for a swift departure, emphasized the importance of sticking together. The banter, now a blend of camaraderie and playful challenges, hinted at the evolving dynamics between Ian and Rhiannon. As they approached Ian's horse, the banter shifted to their mode of transportation. Rhiannon, relieved at the thought of not walking all the way to Scotland, questioned Ian's knowledge of her movements. Ian explained his plan to climb through a window, inadvertently revealing the simplicity of his original mission. The banter reached a climax as Rhiannon questioned Ian's authenticity once more. Ian, frustrated but amused, assured her that he wouldn't have traveled such a distance for a trivial mission. The banter, now laced with a sense of understanding, set the stage for their journey. With Rhiannon now armed with a dagger and Gussie in tow, they set off towards Scotland. The banter, a constant companion, hinted at the challenges and adventures awaiting them. The unlikely duo, brought together by circumstance, embarked on a journey filled with danger, uncertainty, and the promise of a thrilling adventure.